Hustle, Elite Street Beat. I'm Sandra along with T the Man and S Hacker. How you doing, T the Man?
I'm doing good.
S Hacker, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
Glad to have you back. Well, we have a big show today. We have a lot to unpack. We're going to be talking about Mr. Brett Kavanaugh and his nomination to the Supreme Court and the controversy that's behind it. As we speak right now, we got people protesting at various Congress people's places, disputing the fact that they do not want Mr. Kavanaugh to be on the Supreme Court. But Sarah Burris and Ross Story has written an article, and this article is very disturbing. It's about Brett Kavanaugh. He was accused of sexual assault while in the room with a friend with Mark Judge. This article really speaks to Mark Judge and who he is. It says, for those who don't know, I went to Georgetown Prep where Kavanaugh and Gorsuch both went as well. He says, when I came forward with allegations regarding Gary Orr, a former priest, sexual assault me, Mark Judge, he went in, he spoke to some of the people that were at the school and kind of got an alliance with those people to speak badly about this gentleman, saying that he was a liar and that this priest was a good priest. Well, eventually the priest was outed and he was accused of sexual molesting or was raping kids because of his unchecked liberalism at prep, and that regardless of whether or not he was telling the truth, he said that Mark Judge accused him of being a homosexual and that he had it coming. Tina Man, out of all of the things that we have to talk about with Kavanaugh, this is one more piece of evidence that this man is not fit to be on the Supreme Court.
No, he's not fit to be on the Supreme Court, but this is by design. The Republicans, Charles Grassley, Mitch McConnell, want to win at all cost. They know about this. If we know about it, they know about it. Because they have staffers to do some research and they want to see how they can bury it. This is to win at all costs. They don't care what it costs them. If they think they're going to lose the midterm elections, then so be it, because we're going to get what we want in the end. And that's what it's all about. It's about winning. It's not about the rule of law. It's not about respect for women. It's not about respect for women's rights. None of that. That doesn't factor in. These men are 85 years old. They're ingrained. They're entrenched. They're not going to change. They feel that, women are subservient to men and that they're winning. They're going to keep winning. They're not going to relinquish their power to empower somebody else to make it fair and just. That's not how power works. So this guy, Mark Judge, he knows what's happening. That's why he don't want to testify. And you know what? They could subpoena him. They got subpoena powers. This is the Judiciary Committee. They can go and say, hey, you know what? We want you to testify to Brett Kavanaugh's character. They're not going to do it. They don't want to do it because why? They don't want the public to turn against them. Now, they have protesters outside Chuck Grassley's office, but, that's not going to sway them none because, you know what? He ain't up for re-election. Is he retiring? I don't think he's retiring, but he ain't up for re-election. He don't care. He's 85 years old. You're going to carry him out dead and stiff out of his office. And that's just the bottom line.
As Hacker, do you think that Dr. Ford should testify to the committee on Monday?
I think, again, this lady has already had to move out of her home. She has kids because of death threats. And people are, to me, kind of don't get it when they wonder why women don't come forth and testify, right? We live in America where we should be free to state our opinion, especially on things that occurred in our life, without having to redo your life because of the death threats of people who have already made up their mind whether you're telling the truth or not. And I think it should be, if she testifies, I think it should be a high physical security way, because again, she's already had to move out of her home because of death threats. And I think that is so unfortunate. And it does not show the best side of what we call these United States.
It's hard to see democracy in this process. I feel like they are just kind of placating America, just, trying to put this false pretense up that they really want to find out what's going on and what's happening. Tita, man,
Right.
I don't think they want to know what's really going on. I don't think they want to know the truth.
No, they don't want to know the truth. The truth doesn't serve or bode them well. The truth will not help their cause. So why tell the truth when a lie is a lot better, or just better yet, just completely ignore it? They're going to just say, hey, you know what? We gave her a fair shot to this hearing. She could speak, but they don't want to bring any other witnesses. They just want to discredit her, because the more witnesses you bring, the harder it is to discredit her. They know that. I know that. So why bring this upon ourselves? Listen, the man in the White House, who does he like? He likes men who's accused of sexual harassment, people who's accused of being a pedophile. Him himself has been accused. The one thing I noticed, like Brett Kavanaugh has not came and said, is that I absolutely not have done this. There's nobody who can say otherwise.
He said he didn't go to the party.
No, he said he didn't know the woman initially. He said he did not know her initially. I don't know her.
Sometimes maybe when you grow up with a woman, you may not know them.
And a fact that nobody's talking about. He said he didn't do the assault, right? He does not deny the fact that he was a high schooler who was frequently drunk. Because everyone said, even she said, that he and his friend were drunk, right? You're in high school, dude.
Yeah, but Brett
That does
Kavanaugh
not serve your character well at all.
Brett Kavanaugh has been accused of lying on other matters. This here is a matter that we can reasonably expect him to lie about. He's not going to admit and say, yeah, I was in high school. I used to be a drunk, and this girl, and I assaulted her. And you know what? So that's how it was in high school. That's not gonna bode well for him. So he's gonna just say, I never did it. I don't know her. And it'd be interesting to see what his defense is, because if he says anything other than saying that I didn't do it or I never done this, it's admitting that he has done it in some kind of fashion.
Because again, if you were at the party and you did nothing, why not just simply say, yes, I was at the party, but I never went upstairs. I never went upstairs with anyone. Just state that. But again, to say that I don't know her, or that, this never occurred. What part never occurred? Were you at the party? Were you drunk? Did you assault her? Answer those three questions.
It helps him that his friend has written a book about their high school years. He's written a book stating that he can't believe how much they got away with, that they drank excessively. And it also has a reference to Bart Kavanaugh, who was supposedly so drunk that he threw up in somebody's car. And we can, almost surmise that probably is Brett Kavanaugh's name being disguised in the book. I just don't think it looks good, S.
No, it don't look good. And he knows it doesn't look good. That's why
I don't think it looks good either. Because again, just to get somebody who's very conservative on the Supreme Court. That's their ultimate goal. Again, anything else they could care less about.
Not just conservative, but somebody who believes that the president's authorities should just, have no boundaries.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why Donald Trump doesn't want to, try to back off and replace this guy, because very few people have the same opinion about how the president should be treated than Brett Kavanaugh, who has written extensively about how he feels like, their job is too important to be bothered, with these type of accusations. Absolutely.
Yeah. So,
in case he forgot, he works for the people.
Oh, they don't believe that. They don't believe that they work for the people. They believe
they do.
It's supposed
who pays you?
Paycheck. That's what they believe.
The people pay you. Well, Russians too, but mostly the people.
Yeah, we will be monitoring this situation, because tomorrow she's got to give let Chuck Grassley know if she's going to testify or not. I hope she does testify. I understand her disappointment. She wants to have the FBI investigate this and continue a background investigation on Brett. Of course, it has to be approved by the President of the United States, who has come out and says, well, it's not what the FBI does. It's not their thing. I'm sorry. The I in FBI means investigate. And so he doesn't want to put any more effort into trying to find out if any of these things that have been alleged about Brett Kavanaugh are anyway near, truth, any kind of truth at all. I just think it's a
And
bit.
again, and I think it's hypocritical of a man who's been accused of more than dozens of sexual assaults to pass judgment and say the FBI should investigate or the FBI shouldn't investigate. Again, this guy's accused of one sexual assault. Donald Trump has been accused of, again, dozens and dozens.
Well, and I think it's hypocritical too when you look back at the videos of Chuck Grassley back when they were pursuing Bill Clinton, and how they, I'm sorry, Anita Hill, and how they investigated that situation. I told T the man, I said, I don't know if they did it because why would they do it, for him and not do it for Brett Kavanaugh? They were very willing to, put Anita Hill under the bus. Why won't they, do an investigation? Maybe it's because Anita Hill and Clarence are both Black. I don't know why.
Maybe it is a lack of melanin in this case.
Yeah, I just think that it's hypocritical. It's horrible.
Right.
You know what? They learned from their mistakes. They didn't think they looked good, and even now they're talking about if they're gonna give Dr. Ford this hearing, that they may have the Republicans going to have their women staffers do the interview.
Right.
The optics don't look good of them asking her these questions.
Right.
Which basically goes back to them. They don't respect her. She's not evaluated high enough for the chairman of the judiciary to ask her a question. So he sends his low-level staffer to ask her a question.
Exactly.
But they're going to ask him. They're not going to send no low-level staffer to ask Brett Kavanaugh. So it's a double standard. They're hypocritical, and they need to be called out for it. But
they simply just don't care.
No, they don't care. And you know what? Listen, they don't care. They enable this president, and they're nothing to do nothing to stop his destruction of this democracy. So that's the thing, So in 2018, you got to go vote. You got to make your vote known and enforce. And then if the political party changes, well, then this will stop, or at least slow down considerably. But while we're talking about, Stormy got a new book, Sandra.
Yeah, she's got a new book called Full Disclosure. In this book, she talks about the President's Johnson, the lack thereof. And she describes this Johnson to a toadstool. Now, T, I'm not familiar with what a toadstool looks like. You have a picture of what a toadstool looks like, because they did have a really cute character, but I think it's a little bit more real than just
I do. And what, I'm gonna go ahead and let you kind of see what it looks like, and if we, I don't know if you can see it, but it looks something like that.
Yeah, wow. It's a mushroom.
She said that it was small, but it wasn't freakishly small. But that's just freakish all the way around. Now,
then you have to add that it's orange.
Hey, you think he gets that spray painted too, or spray tanned as well? Oh,
nah. Nobody caring what it looks like down there.
Yeah, that's the optic I didn't need to.
But I thought it was curious the way that she said it wasn't freakishly small. So basically that means it is small.
Right. Or it's average.
No, average is not small. Take it from me as a male, average is not small.
Okay. And a toadstool is small.
Yeah.
Not freakishly small. I'm saying it's in the 2 to 3 inches range, and I'm assuming that when she saw it, he was in an aroused state. So that tells you something right there, For a man that's 6 feet, 6'2", it's like he hasn't fully developed and is slightly deformed. I thought Stormy deserved every bit of the $130,000 that she got.
I hope her book is a bestseller too.
I don't want to sound too graphic, but y'all have seen men's appendage.
Well, I'm a
what do you think,
lesbian,
Sammy?
and I have seen men's penis before, and I can truly say that what she described sounds very unsatisfactory to me.
It's a Toadstool-like performance coming your way.
I guess it is, so, and there's, I don't know. Well, apparently Melania likes it. Marla maybe, and Ivana, she liked it, the first wife, but I guess when you got money, you can look past his deformities. That's all how I'm.
Well, it's been said that the president is upset that he feels some kind of way about his manhood. He doesn't like it to be described like that. But I can imagine that Melania is really feeling some kind of way because she know what it looked like, and to have somebody come out and write a book about her husband's Johnson, and she knows that it looked like that picture you showed us, T. It's got to be very, very disturbing, very embarrassing. But she's always numb, and she doesn't say anything. But it's got to be heartbreaking.
And again, we're missing out. When we envision the toaster, remember it's upside down.
It's upside down.
Yeah, because otherwise that would be freakishly.
Was it freakishly small?
Now, just freakishly, forget the length. It would just simply be freakishly.
Yeah.
Show that picture again. Yeah.
All head, no shaft,
Yeah, exactly. We have to flip it, Let's, again, since we bring it.
No, that's not. Let me tell you. I'm gonna send you a book on anatomy. That ain't how it works.
No, but I'm saying, the mushroom.
You might want to have to go to like Lover's Lane or one of them sex stores.
No, but again, we have to.
What a normal one looks like,
But again, that's up. The junk should be at the bottom, right? This junk on that picture is at the top.
Well, it's the.
And again, if it's at the top,
it's at the top. It's deformed. When it's deformed, it looks like that.
It's not that deformed. Quit playing with that, man.
I don't know what it looked like. Hey, you know what?
I'm agreeing with Stormy. Stormy's an expert. I'm not going to refute what she said.
Right.
Hey, listen, I know what mine looked like. It don't look like that. That's all I can tell you.
And I want to say that Stormy
is not being called
and she knows
small or freakishly small.
Or
it might be considered average or nice size. I don't want to brag on myself, but I'm going to speak up for myself.
Because that's what you're supposed to do.
It's not about you, T.
So,
it works. About you.
Then better yet, it works.
Donald got the kids to prove it, So, he's got like 5 kids, and ain't no telling how many women out there might have had the abortion or 2 from that idiot.
Well, again, everybody could do that turkey basting method. So just because, let's not say it works fully.
Well, listen, he's paying $130,000 a shot for professionals. So
yeah,
I'm gonna go with the pro nose. Stormy's a pro. Exactly. She's a porn star. She know what small and she know what big is and average. And she has enough of vocabulary to use those words.
She's
Toadstool was not freakishly small, which means it'd have been less than 2 inches. I'm giving them from the 2 to 3 inches.
Yeah,
so not freakishly small.
Yeah,
from my humble expert opinion.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for your.
It probably stopped growing when he hit puberty,
Nah. That took till he was like in his 20s. That yeast didn't rise all the way. That's all that is.
I can't believe that. There's a book out about the president's sex life while he is still president. I can't believe that we are talking about this. I mean, when we think about the past administrations, you never would have thought that we'd have actually been having this conversation. It's just
because not since Bill Clinton, because again they made it front and center. They being the Republicans made it like, oh, this is just the worst thing ever and all that. And now they're quiet as a church mouse.
Absolutely, right. Shame on them. Shame on them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Tita, man, you know what? I want to talk a little bit about Steve Harvey. His show has been canceled and is being replaced by Kelly Clarkson. Now, Steve Harvey still has other shows. This is his show, Steve, that is on in the daytime. But you yourself have, you know, seen Steve Harvey. I saw him in person one time, but you have much more contact with him. And, you know, for me, I feel like, you know, he's been doing some reaping, so he's doing some sowing. And so from your standpoint, in your personal, what do you think about Steve? Because
I'm just going to say this. I don't have any animosity towards Steve Harvey. I've spoken to Steve Harvey a few times. You know, we talked about cigars. I find that I have another connection to Steve Harvey through Bernie Mac, but that's another story. I think some of the stuff that Steve Harvey did wasn't, I don't know, it's something that I wouldn't have done. But when you're chasing success and you know, and you're chasing those dollars, you know, you do some things I would say that are maybe is not nice or unscrupulous. Steve Harvey is big at telling people to reinvent themselves and become somebody else. That's easy to say when you've been blessed. And like Steve Harvey was saying, the Lord blessed me. If he didn't bless you, well, that's your fault. That ain't my fault that he didn't bless you. And in a sense, he's right. But when we're here to help other people, and I know Steve Harvey does help other people, but when you commingle with Donald Trump, nothing good comes from this.
Right.
And Steve Harvey talking about Trump, and I know he regrets about dealing with Trump. He's lost his daytime show. Losing his daytime show he's lost one of his platforms, which means there's money out of his pocket. Not only that, in Dallas, the radio station there has dropped his show in Dallas. I don't know about other areas of the country, but Dallas was a big market for him, and he's gone out of Dallas. But he still has his Steve Harvey radio show. I think he's still doing Family Feud and Little Big Shots for NBC. Eventually, it's going to go down. But now, what we don't know from Steve Harvey's show is that are there any accusations of impropriety or maybe some kind of sexual harassment? I'm not saying that there is. We don't know, but it was you know, it's like he's doing good. His show was increasing in its ratings, and then now suddenly, you know, NBC, like, we're gonna drop him for Kelly Clarkson.
Yeah, right.
Now, it might have been a problem of him just getting the right kind of guests. Steve is he's not a good interviewer. He's a comedian. You know, Helen is a comedian, but she's able to make that cross platform, and not everybody's able to do it. So, you know,
I don't feel sorry for Steve Harvey. I mean, I feel like he has kind of put himself out there for criticism. The way he treated the staff in Chicago when he left his show, the Steve Harvey show in Chicago, and how he spoke about those people and told them, you know, don't talk to him. And, you know, they threw a party and he didn't even show up. You know, he seems to me like he's ungrateful. And, you know, the fact
the last day that Steve did it. And I'm going to tell you, he let those people go that day, and in the lot, an employee lot, when I was leaving, Steve Harvey had 2 Rolls Royces delivered to the lot. One black Rolls, one white Rolls. I think it's the Phantom 4 or whatever it is. They're like $425,000, $450,000 Rolls Royces. And he was deciding on which color he was going to get, or maybe he was going to get 2 Rolls Royces and put one in Atlanta and, you know, one in Dallas or wherever he stays, you know, because he got money like that. So, but the people, they didn't know what their future was going to be. They just told him, hey, you know what? I'm going to LA. You're not going. That's it.
Wow.
In the thing. So, and you know what? He should be used to this business, because when they call him up and say, hey, we're not renewing you, that's it. That's the business. Right. Be grateful for what you got. You got your few little pennies. And so we're moving on, you know. So Steve Harvey gonna leave him from Chicago. Now we got our other famous person that's in grace with Trump is Kanye West.
He's coming back. He's coming back to Chicago.
He said he's coming. Kim said she ain't coming.
She ain't.
She ain't coming.
No, she's not. Did you think she would?
California girl.
Exactly. She don't want to be in the Windy City. Did you think she would? Her mama ain't coming, so she's not coming.
You know, I don't know. You know, listen, where's Kanye gonna be? Is he gonna be living in, you know, within, you know, city of Chicago? We all know about the Inglewood neighborhood, and within Inglewood, in case you don't know, there's Inglewood. That's the area with inside Inglewood is worse than the outside area within Inglewood.
Inglewood's always been bad.
You know, so a lot of times you say, hey, I'm going to Inglewood, and you say, nah, you going to Inglewood. But
I believe that Kanye would probably try to stay downtown in the Loop, or he probably would stay out in the suburbs. But I'm gonna be quite frank, you know, bro, like him, he need to be careful, because a lot of people are feeling some kind of way about Kanye. I think Kanye needs to stay wherever the heck he at. If he want to go back to Chicago, he better make sure he gets out there in the suburbs, be in a gated community, and have some security out there, because there's some people take his head off.
Trump Tower, where Steve Harvey moved out of, they should have a condo up there that is fitting for a man of Kanye.
Yeah, you know, he could ask.
He might like that.
Hey, this used to be Steve Harvey's condo. We haven't quite sold it yet. You can buy it. He was black. He was black. Maybe you know, y'all can stay there.
We could
He's
keep the
got a
numbers,
kid named Chicago.
and we could keep the numbers the same. You know, we could trade out Steve Harvey for Kanye West, and we still good.
Absolutely. So there's a feel-good story about a gentleman who sold his Mustang in order to help finance, pays for some hospital bills because his wife had some cancer. And tell us a little bit about that story, T.
His name was Wesley Ryan. He had a 1993 Mustang, and his wife contracted ovarian cancer. And so he had to sell his beloved 1993 Mustang to help pay medical bills. So 12 years later, his kids, Jenny, Jake, and Jenny's boyfriend, Julian, they tracked down this car by the VIN number. And the first time they tried to buy the car, they were unsuccessful. They weren't able, they didn't have enough money and stuff like that. And so they just recently tried again, and they were able to purchase the car, and they called their father, not telling them it was a surprise. And the mother helped too and says, meet us at Kohl's in the parking lot. So he goes to the Kohl's, and he's there at the parking lot, and there's the car. You know, in fact, Wesley, he named his car Christine after the movie Christine.
Oh, wow.
You know, but so
Car's haunted.
No.
He's happy to have his car back, you know. And it's an emotional, you'll see it, you can see it out there on CBS News. You just Google kids who want their car back. That's a good story, you know, that
he just broke down.
They went out there, they found this car and they brought it back, and they were appreciative for the sacrifices that their dad made for them and their family, because he's always working. And this was his beloved car, and he didn't ask for the car. You know, he didn't moan or gripe about him not having selling that car, because he did it for the love of his family. His wife has been cancer-free for 13 years, which is
that's great.
An important thing.
Yeah, it is.
In case you don't know, I mean, you do know, you ladies and people out there, ovarian cancer is one of the more deadly forms of cancer, and the survival rate of surviving ovarian cancer is low, but you can survive it, and that's been proved here. So that's good. You know, we want to put a shout out to him, that you know that he's got this car, and so he's
got a great family too.
Got a great family, and
right?
Running, you know, so that's a good thing, and we're very happy to hear that. And just to touch on a point, and just came, I read that LeBron James is going to be doing Space Jam 2.
Yes, I heard that.
Right. So he's going to be doing Space Jam 2. You know. And the thing is, and they said, it'd be interesting to see who he does it with, you know, because when Michael Jordan did Space Jam, you know, he did it with all the contemporaries of his time. You know, I think Bird was in it, or maybe Isaiah. Or, you know,
I need Spike Lee to do the commercial.
Right,
you know.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. I wonder, will LeBron bring on Kylie Irving? Because, you know, Kylie's done Uncle Drew. And, you know.
Right, yeah.
You know, so this will be interesting in LeBron and Kylie, because they got a little competition, I'm going to say, because they're both into the media, and Kylie has a movie, Uncle Drew. Now LeBron is doing Space Jam 2. And I don't know if there's going to be a collaboration, and, you know, and it's just like, you know, Kylie has his projects. LeBron had his Survivor's Remorse, and they, you know, so they're competing in their other side businesses along on basketball court. So that's just an interesting thing. So I don't know. Maybe we'll get one of y'all out there, you know, sit in the seats as an extra out there. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm thinking it's not going to be me.
Yeah,
I'm going to appoint Sandra for that one.
yeah. And Sandra, you know, I know, you know, our viewers don't know that you are a comedian and you go out there, and they haven't had a chance to see you on tour. But you know, we got to get you out there. And I know when your father was living, and you know your parents are living, you used to keep your act clean. Because if those of you who don't know Sandra like I do, Sandra could cuss like a sailor. Only two people I knew who could cuss like Sandra, and that was her and my Aunt Daisy. And
I love Aunt Daisy.
they could cuss, but you know, not that you have to go do a profanity lay show, but you know, I want to see you get out there more. I want to be able to come to the show because you know I want some perks.
Right, you know.
So
we want some benefits
and see.
Well, I am working on some material, and you know, in between that and trying to do a little extra work here and there, I will definitely keep Lee Street Beat informed.
Okay.
Well, that's what's up.
Might go Facebook Live, you know, when I do it.
Yeah, do it.
Okay. Well, that's it from all of us. This Lee Street Beat. Stay tuned for breaking news with this Brett Kavanaugh thing and his and Dr. Christine Ford. We might even have an update. But you know, with this administration, you know, everything is minute to minute. So you know, by tomorrow this time, it might be breaking news. Who knows? Maybe, hopefully, we hear like Bob Mueller came and got Don Jr.
Yeah,
You know?
that would be a.
If we do, we just might break in live. You know,
he gonna get Jared and Don Jr. Boy, we gonna come back and do a show right then.
Yeah,
exactly.
So from all of us, this is Lee Street Beat. We want everybody to take care, stay safe, help one another, and you know, it's getting to that time. You need to go vote. If you don't like the way things are, you gotta vote. And if you do like the way the things are, then go vote. So that from all of us, this is Lee Street Beat. Sandra Tucker and S Hacker, and I'm T the Man. Thank you, and hope to see you soon again. Bye.
Bye.